Hi. Hey, what's new? I love Superman. Call him lame, call him boring, hell, call me boring, but Superman is undeniably the greatest superhero of all time. Not saying he's my favorite or should be yours, but there's just this undeniable iconicism and meaning that comes with Superman. Something that stretches beyond the character alone. You think of a superhero and you see that S. And when you see that S, you think truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. So after seeing the trailers for James Gunn's Superman, I think it's safe to say that this character is finally in good hands. Oh, damn. Oh my, what? Yeah, I could see that. Oh my god. What? Okay, alright. So clearly this movie's been pretty divisive, somehow with only 2 trailers and a single scene. Ever since it was first announced that James Gunn was going to be the one to write and direct this rendition of The Man of Tomorrow, some people were up in arms. I personally was super excited. James Gunn had just become the head of DC Studios. They finally killed off the Snyderverse, which is an entire beast of its own. And the future of DC movies were actually looking up. And now, 2 years after these announcements were made, it's more clear than ever that Superman is DC's final chance to prove to general audiences that this universe has more to offer than just Batman. More clear than ever that Superman has to save DC. See, Superman is a hard character to sell to people nowadays. Back in the 30s, when comic characters were less of actual characters and more caricatures, it was easier to show a man wearing his underwear on the outside of his pants, make him indestructible, and have him be a role model for kids. But as time has passed and the characters developed, not only in comic books, but by transcending multiple forms of media, more and more people, kids and adults both, have come to know and care for the character of Clark Kent. But in recent years, audiences have grown to care about different aspects of these comic book characters. Like if you were to try and publish a Punisher comic back in the 30s, you probably would have been kicked out of Marvel instantly.
Shut up. Get out.
But now, complicated characters like Frank Castle have become household names and crowd favorites. People have grown to become attached to flawed characters with an edge that simply didn't exist back when a character like Superman was initially developed. And with that has come so many shows and movies embracing those flawed and edgy aspects of characters. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, not even in the slightest. Some of my favorite fictional characters of all time are the ones that struggle with their dark sides, have done bad things. Characters exactly like Frank Castle. What I'm saying is that in a world where we embrace these darker characters, the ones that exist in those immoral areas, a world where just straight villains are taking the leads of shows and movies, people can lose appreciation for a character that stands for nothing but good. When there's so many characters leading in the morally gray, a character that represents unwavering optimism and hope for mankind can just be seen as unrealistic and boring. And therein lies my biggest fear for Superman, and what I think is James Gunn's biggest fear as well. One that he's actually portraying in the film. In the modern day, can people love and embrace a character like Superman? In a time where all you see online is hate and division, will anyone truly be able to appreciate and care for a character that denounces every bit of that? A question like this, I think, is the perfect central question for the film to navigate and attempt to answer. And it seems to be what James Gunn is going for. In every trailer we've seen so far, Superman's been public enemy number 1. He's been forced into conflict with these corporate sponsored superheroes, government agents, and even the general public, all for doing what he believes in, for doing what's right.
In effect, you illegally entered a country. You seemingly acting as a representative of the United States.
I wasn't representing anybody except for me
around the world.
and doing good.
He's being persecuted because he's the only hero that hasn't assimilated to the government and the big corporations in the ways that the other heroes have. He refuses to be used as a pawn to serve agendas that he doesn't believe in, and this is the perfect conflict for the character of Superman to have in this day and age. One of the key components of Superman is his unapologetic righteousness. Superman's never afraid to stand up and do what's right, even if the entire world is telling him the opposite. If there's someone in danger, he will personally see to it that they are okay. It doesn't matter if it'll create a political or economical divide. Superman will never let someone stand in harm's way, nor would he do any harm unless absolutely necessary. And this key aspect of Superman's character, one of the aspects that makes him so interesting, is already displayed in full in the newest trailer. We hear of his actions to go into Bravia and stop the war from getting any worse, and as a result of him literally stopping a war, he's arrested and thrown in a cell. He's harassed on the streets and villainized, all because people can't accept that one man simply wanted to do good. This is the Superman treatment I've been waiting to see for a long time. This ideology is the main reason I'm not the biggest fan of the way Zack Snyder displayed Superman, because he didn't show us really any of this. He did great at showing the physical power that Superman possesses, but never showed why it's so interesting that Clark Kent is the person to have it. Why it's so intriguing that someone with all the power to destroy the world would never even think to use it that way.
It's so easy. Anger. Vengeance. Luckily, I'm not you, and I never will be.
Like, be honest, is this something you would ever expect Superman to do? Like, even if he got a beer thrown in his face, Clark would never do something this petty. One of Man of Steel's biggest flaws is how it fails to show Clark's primary morals and beliefs. He's reduced down to just being an alien with superpowers, but is also generally a good guy, rather than a true human being that loves Earth more than anybody else, that also happens to be the only one not from it. He would almost never show emotion unless it was anger or sadness, when he should be a beacon of joy. When he's fighting Zod, the city is literally crumbling around him, and he isn't even slightly bothered by it. Superman should be doing everything he can to stop his home from being destroyed, saving everybody he possibly could, regardless of if that means he's the one put in danger as a result. Superman's primary belief is that there's always another way, but we all know how that went. With James Gunn's Superman, we've only had a few glimpses into what this movie is going to look like, and we could already see all of these aspects bursting off the screen, bringing a fight into the sky so that nobody else will be put in danger except for himself. Beyond that, even the choices of making his suit a vibrant blue and red, including Crypto and the super robots, making the Fortress of Solitude burst from the ground in an abstract way, it really feels like a return to form on how the character should be presented. Superman thrives in the absurd. It's a waste to put him in a grounded world because Superman himself is so far away from the ground. All the added characters, the style, the color, helps to reinforce the themes that Superman stands for. The way that Superman's suit shines so bright compared to the gray and black tactical gear of the government or LexCorp sponsored guards is representative of the hope and love that he radiates in a cold and uncaring world, even in comparison to the Lord Tech sponsored heroes who are stuck wearing these corporate reprints of the same suit. Except for Mr. Terrific, that suit is near perfect. And I love that we're able to cut from Superman's bright blue tone in Metropolis to a more homey beige, brown, and green at the Kent farm with Ma and Pa Kent. And while I'm on a similar topic, we're actually getting a good look at Clark's personality in these teasers as well. He's acting like an actual human being, not entirely dorky or entirely stoic, but like someone that you could see yourself becoming friends with. The way he sits up and changes his tone when the interview with Lois starts, swapping from Clark Kent to Superman, and the way it slowly starts to break as he's pressed with the questions the entire world is asking, it feels so real. I'm glad that we've had the chance to see both the serious professional side and the passionate, honest, and aggravated side. I know it's only one part of a single scene, but it's really cool to see Superman acting like a normal man. This is the type of heartfelt care that makes the character such an inspiration and a widely known symbol around the world. The type of care that we haven't seen since Smallville. It gets that Superman isn't strong because of his invulnerability, his flight, laser vision, or super strength. Superman is strong because of his unwavering compassion that never ceases. He's interesting because he will always hold out hope for those that probably don't deserve it, and for a world that doesn't love him nearly as much as he loves it. Even though he's an alien, he knows more than anyone what being a human being is all about. The willingness to hold out hope for the world and stand by those beliefs in yourself and your fellow people. Loving those around you, even though you don't know them, don't agree with their opinions, their political views. That is the hope that we should all hold out for, that we all should keep in our hearts, pushing towards those ideals every day, lifting up our fellow man in the hopes of creating a better future, a better tomorrow. So I guess the question still remains, can Superman be lifted up in that same way in a society that's dead set on pushing each other down? Well, it's up to us to make sure that the answer to that question is yes. In the same way that this random stranger is lifting Superman back to his feet, we need to embrace these old-fashioned beliefs. Beliefs that should be the foundation of how we present ourselves as people. Show that Superman as an idea, as a symbol, is something that we should all be striving to reflect in each of our own lives. To show that Superman is somebody that we all should look up to.
I don't think that I make them feel safe anymore.
Clark, when people are scared, they have a tendency to hop on a bandwagon before they see who's driving it. But when they wise up, and believe me, they will, what matters is that you'll be there for them, leading by example, just like always. Truth, justice, and the American way.
Thanks, Pa.
Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. Before I even say anything else, thank you guys so much for all the love and support on my first video. It was the craziest thing I've ever experienced on this platform. Easily the biggest video I've ever made on any of my channels, and without a doubt, the greatest comments I've ever gotten on any video. No crazy toxicity. Everybody was just coexisting and genuinely enjoying the movie, which is what I want this whole channel to be about. Somewhere where we could just get together and collectively love these movies. So I hope you guys enjoyed. There's more to come. Thank you guys again so much for the love and support. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all on the next one.